Now, shifting to discoveries, how many of you have been to a concert at our Discovery series that we do at Sarasota Opera House? Hugh. I'm doing my Phil Donahue thing. Did you enjoy listening to the orchestra in the Opera House?
Absolutely. It was excellent.
Do you like the programming, how we play some familiar things but introduce a lot of new things that you may not have heard before?
Yeah, I think that's what really makes it interesting. It's a shorter program, moves quicker. We have some of the older composers and then at least one or two new composers.
Yeah. So we would really encourage you to give Discoveries a chance if you can. As Hugh said, there's 75-minute programs. There's no intermission. This year we have 2 Saturday evenings that start at 7:30, so it's a little bit of an earlier night, and 1 matinee at 4. Over the course of this series, you're going to hear a lot of pieces that you know, but you're going to hear a lot of really wonderful music that you're probably going to be hearing for the first time, but it's stuff we think we're really going to enjoy. Catherine is our soloist for Discoveries 1, playing a concerto by Bright Shing. And joining us live now should be from Dallas, where she's in between rehearsals with Dallas Symphony, should be Ruth Reinhardt. See if we can Skype her in. Ruth! Wie geht es Ihnen?
Sehr gut, danke. Und Ihnen?
Yeah, we're both German.
Didn't expect to get to speak German here.
Well, I'll stop now because I think maybe you and I are the only two. We're so excited you're going to open our Discovery series next year. Can you tell us a little bit about this concert you put together?
I'm really delighted to come to Sarasota in September too. And I think the program, I really love the program and I'm so excited to do it. So it's 4 pieces that are all about love in some ways. So we start with Dvorak's Otello Overture, which is one of my all-time favorite pieces. It starts so beautifully with this chorale, just like almost like a prayer in the beginning, and then it gets very energetic and it's a wonderful piece. Then we're going to do the Bright Shing, Never Far Away harp concerto, where as well the first movement is based on the Chinese folk song, which is about love and about the longing for a faraway lover. And I'm just so excited to get to work with Catherine. I've heard such incredible things about her.
She's here. We were talking before. We think you guys went to Juilliard together or Tanglewood together, but now you'll actually work together. So
Exactly.
That'll be great. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ruth, and we'll let you get back to rehearsal. We thank you for stopping in between rehearsals with Dallas Symphony. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For Discoveries 2, how many of you have heard of a composer named Franz Schreker? Anyone? 1 hand. Very knowledgeable person. 2, yeah. Franz Schreker is very much the reason why we're doing Discoveries. Franz Schreker was a turn-of-the-century composer. He had every intention of taking romantic music further into the 20th century. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's gorgeous, radiant music, but don't take my word for it. Chris is very knowledgeable about music, but he too also was introduced to Franz for the first time. Chris, will our audiences like this music?
Yes. He writes in a beautiful late romantic style, but he kind of pushes the envelope past the romantic tradition, and it's very striking effects that he gets. Very colorful, beautiful music. Like when I go looking for new interesting things I hadn't heard before, I often will follow a chain of YouTubes and listen to just samples of things, but like he is one of the composers where I'll like sit and listen to a whole half hour of his work at once. I don't skip around,
right,
because he really grabs your attention.
that concert is on December 22nd, but it is not a Christmas concert. However, buried within the program is a hidden holiday treasure that's going to be the highlight of your holiday season, I promise. For Discoveries 3, when I got this big list of chamber music, and the reason I have Sam and Chris here is it was a lot of pages of works. We could program 100 chamber series just from their works. But one of the pieces Samantha listed was by Goliov, and it's living composer Osvaldo Goliov, and it's called Last Round. And it exists in a chamber music version and a string orchestra version. I saw that and I said, I wonder if we could do that on Discoveries. And that concert will be conducted by Guillermo Figueroa. And I spoke with him and he was happy to do it. Samantha, this is another very intense piece of music you're putting in front of us.
Yes, I think we're sensing a pattern here. Yeah. This piece is actually, I have to shout out to Anne Chandra, who brought this piece to me in the first place years ago, actually, and said if there's ever an opportunity. And it was one of the works that I had performed when I was in school, which is just, it's so much fun to play. It's basically a tango in two parts. And Goliov takes inspiration from both Astor Piazzolla and Carlos Gardel in this work. And really what you'll see on stage is sort of a manifestation of this push-pull tango dance, because you have two sets of instruments. In the chamber orchestra version, you have string quartet parts on one side, and same with the other. There are two sort of sets of string quartet parts played by a larger ensemble, which is grounded by the basses in the center. And you will actually see, as well as hear, the relationship between the way that Goliov has written this work to imitate each other, to dance with each other, to duel with each other. And it's going to be a fantastic thing, and it is very intense, and it's really going to be a highlight for me next season.
Everyone, please join me in thanking Chris, Samantha, and Catherine for joining us today. Great. Thank you.